Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Phillips. Welcome to this week's episode of Notes from Chicago. We have our first returning guest this week. Returning on camera, she's with me every week. It's Tanisha Blakely. Tanisha, thanks for coming back.
Hello, I'm back.
This week, we are going to talk about all things spring, things that we love to do in the spring, how the heck we survived this past winter. It was a tough one.
So how have you been surviving this winter? What have you been doing to enjoy yourself in the city? Because most people are like, I don't want to come to Chicago in the wintertime. And I usually tell people not to come.
I always tell people not to come. They're like, oh, Chicago sounds so great. I'm like, not right now. Please don't come. Right. I mean, I love for anyone to visit, but that this time of year is tough. You know, honestly, we don't do a lot. Like we do a lot of inside time. We'll go to the museums. We will play with Legos. We will do puzzles. We will read books. But it's just been tough. And I think the thing this winter particularly, there was snow, but there were so many days where it was just so cold. And on those days, it's like those are the days where I'm like, I do feel bad for the pet owners, where like you have to go out. But it's those days it feels like I might die on that walk to the train. My face might freeze and fall off. There were more days. This winter, I think, was tougher than the last few. What about you?
For me, I'm just staying inside. I'm not doing anything. We did have, like, when there's opportunities, when the weather breaks, we go outside. Like, okay, let's go on our walk. Let's go to the beach, or walk down the path by the beach. So Valentine's Day weekend was really nice. I don't know if you remember that.
We were out of town in somewhere warm, and we're like, what? I remember it being warm even though we weren't here because we were mad that we left to go to a warm place, and it was like, what, in the 50s or 60s or something.
Yeah, that was a great weekend. So we went up to Wicker Park and went to the bookstore, went to eat, just walked around. And then I think the day after, it was like 60 degrees. Like I didn't even have a coat on, and I went to the beach and we flew a kite.
Flew a kite?
We find joy where we can. So
I have not done that in a very long time.
I hadn't done it in a long time either. It was fun. So we actually have a kite party coming up at the end of this month.
What happens at a kite party?
We're just bringing kites to the beach and see how it goes.
Report back. That sounds so fun. As you've contemplated the end of, hopefully, these terrible low temperatures that we've had, this past winter, and transitioning into our time to shine, summer. What are things you're looking forward to doing?
I gave this a lot of thought. I had a hard time, and I think it's because I can't trust the weather. So my first recommendation are just museums in general. And the reason I say that is because all of our museums, or not all, but a lot of them are near like nice outdoor spaces. And so you have the museum campus, which has the Shedd Aquarium, the Field Museum, the Planetarium, Adler. So that's by the lake. It has a wonderful park nearby, so you can go and see one of the exhibits and then go outside, weather permitting. So that's one. Over by me, on the border of like Woodlawn and Hyde Park, you have I'm not used to saying the Griffin, but the Museum of Science and Industry. That's by 57th Street Beach and by Promontory Point, my favorite. So I do that anyway, any season, but to be safe, go to a museum, and if it's nice outside, go by the water. The Garfield Park Conservatory. I went New Year's Eve, and it's just really beautiful because if the weather is really bad, it's nice to be like in a well-lit place or naturally lit place, and it's warm. You're around a bunch of plants, and it's very zen. So I'm going to say the Garfield Park Conservatory. So that's good for any season, especially in the winter, but springtime, yes.
It is. And I'm going to pipe in here and also tell people. So Garfield Park, um, the park itself is really interesting. So there is a conservatory, and I think that's where probably most people go. If you cross Lake, so if you like go south of Lake there, so there is like, there's the conservatory and there's the train is running along Lake and there's a CTA station. South of that is the other like side and really like the big green part of the park. There's this beautiful, it's the field house. And so in other Chicago parks, the field house is like, a low slung, like pretty boring building. But the field house at Garfield Park is like this beautiful gold dome, sort of like a rising, I have no idea how old it is, but like it's old. Kind of like, rising like a beacon out of this green space. And it's so beautiful. And you go in there and I mean, it must be architecturally significant. Like you go in there and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is here. It's so interesting. It's so beautiful. So I also recommend that people run across the street, and just check it out. It's pretty cool. It's not hidden, but like the conservatory is like very much an attraction. But then just right across the street, there's really cool stuff to look at too.
Oh, nice, nice. So I'm gonna mosey down my list. Sitting on the porch.
You have a porch, Tanisha.
Right. Okay. So everybody can't do this if you don't have a porch. But okay. So if you have a dog, you can walk your dog, which you have to do anyway, no matter what season. So that's a bad one. This is where my list starts falling apart.
You're like, I have nothing left.
Sitting on the porch, you get to meet your neighbors. Fourth on my list.
Wait, hold on. I want to talk about the porch a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have a proper porch? Like a big, because I'm from the South, so when I think of porch, I think of like a big.
So it's not a wraparound porch.
Okay.
So it's like a stoop. It's more like, sitting on a stoop. So it's not wide, but multiple people can sit on the stoop. And that kind of falls into also my next thing, which is yard work. If you have a yard, at the end of, I don't know what month it was, like, you clean up the stuff in the front of your house or whatever. And so we planted some new tulip seeds. And so I'm looking forward for my tulips to pop back up. So that's that. Again, this is not a tourist attraction, so this is not for everybody. It's just things that I'm looking forward to in the spring. So my tulips and sitting on the porch. And then last, and I'm grabbing at straws here, starting in April, they have art on the Mart. This is something that's been going on for a long time. It's a nighttime thing, which I'm not always downtown at night, but they have the digital art projection on Merchandise Mart. They have a schedule of different art. So if you're downtown, at seeing a play or going to dinner, and you're there like around 8:30ish, starting in April, you can catch some art. So I'm going to be intentional because I've seen it, but accidentally. I don't know if it's every month or if it's like every 2 weeks they swap out with art, but that's something cool that you can do downtown. So that and outside.
Yeah, it's so cool because since they built out that Riverwalk down in River North right there, you can sit on steps and watch it. You don't have to just be on the bridge. You can like be on the walk and sit and watch it. And it's so cool.
And there's tons of restaurants down there too. I haven't been in a while. The last time I gone, like I would go up to the City Winery over there. I don't know how. I don't even think that's that's not across from the Merchandise Mart, but there's tons of restaurants. There's like 3 or 4 different restaurants down there that you can check out.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. And I would say there's a ton of stuff in that neighborhood. Even if it's not right on the walk, there's a ton of stuff in that neighborhood to go. Plenty of places to eat.
So those are my 5. How about you?
So mine are all take a risk because they're all outside. My number 1 is Lincoln Park Zoo. So Lincoln Park Zoo is right at I think it's right on the lake. It's in between like North Avenue and Fullerton. Love the zoo. It's open all year round, and they do have buildings, and they do have like very cool things going on there. Um, but it is like an amazing place to go when it is starting to get warm and you're starting to see like things get green. It is free, which is pretty incredible. So it's this amazing zoo with all of these animals, with really like lovely exhibits, tons of space to walk around. It feels like very well planned. I would also say we've been going forever. Basically, if you have little kids, finding a free zoo feels like a magical feels like a magical thing. So we've been members for a really long time. Um, and so we have gone so many times, and over I would say like over the past 10 years, kind of seeing like all of the different things that they've added have been really really incredible. So they keep developing this space. It's also right next door to the Lincoln Park Conservatory, which, you know, similarly, and I have not been like that often for the amount of times I've been to the zoo. And I'm like, I think I've been in that conservatory like once. There are tons of flowers within there, and it's like set within Lincoln Park, the park, which is huge and beautiful and has so many amazing plants and flowers and tulips for, you know, for you to see. So it's really beautiful. My second recommendation that I love, again, as it's starting to get nice, it can certainly be hit or miss in April, but then when you get into May, you're like, yeah, baby, like let's go. You can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Can you trust it in May?
When we moved back to Chicago from New York, we woke up on the last day of April and it was snowing. It's like
Yeah.
the day after we moved back, and I'm like, I don't know if I can make it here. This is crazy.
Before you move on, though, I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned the Lincoln Park Conservatory, which you haven't been to as much as you've been to the Garfield Park one. I'm not going to ask you which one is better, but I'm curious. Like, is one bigger size wise?
Garfield Park Conservatory is bigger. And Lincoln Park, I think again, like when I'm there, I'm very like explicitly going to the zoo. And so I'm like, oh, there's the conservatory. I've got other things to do. When I am like, when if I'm going to Garfield Park, I'm either going to a gymnastics class or I'm going to the conservatory. And mostly I'm going to the conservatory. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I haven't been to Lincoln Park Conservatory, so I want to check it. What I love are like the sitting places, like the hidden sitting places when you're walking through. So if Lincoln Park has that, I'll check it out.
There's a lot of stuff right there that is really amazing. This is not on my list because I really think it's only for if you have small children. But although you could go out and enjoy the grounds, um, the Nature Museum is like right across the street, right there too. So it's very close. And when the kids were, it's for smaller kids, I feel like, but when the kids were really little, we would park at the Lincoln Park Zoo and just walk across the street and go to the Nature Museum. And the Nature Museum, if you have little ones, is also really fun. But my second recommendation is also right there. And it is the Green City Market in Lincoln Park. So this is, I think, the biggest farmers market in the city. They have it on Saturdays and I believe also on Thursdays. But the Saturday one is really incredible. It really makes you feel like, I mean, of course, like less so in the spring with the amazing produce. But once you get into like the summer, you're like, yes, this is the Midwestern produce I came for. But um, it really, it's so vibrant. Like there are so many people there of sort of, you know, all across the spectrum of ages and demographics, and it's always crowded and in a good way, like in a way that feels like things are happening in the city and like things are happening, like it feels good. There's always there's always live music that people are playing. There are families everywhere, and you know, you can see like you have like this, you're close enough to downtown where you can also see the skyline. So like you get the same thing with Lincoln Park Zoo. You get like you can get these really amazing photos. And I don't know, it's just beautiful and lovely, particularly after being cloistered up, you know, in your house or, you know, inside essentially for 5 or 6 months, unfortunately. This next one is more of a discovery we made during COVID, and we're looking for
Okay.
things to do outside when our kids were a lot smaller. Um, our family got very into bird watching, and so dorky, but we were like, we got to get out of this house. We got to get out of this house. We can't be inside. We got to be outdoors. What are we going to do? And so our family got really into bird watching. There's a ton of really great bird watching all over the city. Like we would ride bikes very early in the morning and go over to Humboldt Park. We went to Jackson Park several times. There's really amazing bird watching like opportunities there as well. But the place that I would really recommend is that there's a bird sanctuary on the beach at Montrose Beach that you can walk through. And every April, piping plovers come and nest there, and it becomes like this big event for Chicago dorks who are into birds. But they come and nest there, and you can come and like, they do when the plovers come and nest, they block off a little bit so they're not disturbed while they're nesting. Anyway, you can come and watch them, and there's just tons of bird watchings in that bird sanctuary. There's like a little path from the beach, and you can walk through this area and see birds. It's very cool.
It's a lot of nature in the city. I find it wherever I can, but I have not done the bird watching.
Go up to Montrose Beach, go to the beach, take a walk on the path, go through that little sanctuary. It's cool.
Okay, I will. I will check it out. What else is on your list?
Also outdoors. They open in April with many asterisks on them. There is a little miniature golf place in Maggie Daly Park. I didn't know about it. We were with friends at Maggie Daly a couple of years ago, and we stumbled upon this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to play like mini golf. Great. So it's on like a beautiful day. Love going to Maggie Daly. I don't know. It's just beautiful. Like it's just beautiful. It's this oasis is right by the lake. It's incredible. And then kind of like in the middle of it all, there's a mini golf course, which I love, and everything in it is Chicago themed. I don't know if it's Cubs or White Sox, probably both represented there, but like, I don't know. There's just a ton of like it's a Chicago themed miniature golf. And it's just fun to like kind of be in this lush, beautiful, again, like natural, like sort of environment right in the middle of the city and playing mini golf. Like what more could you ask for?
I drive by it all the time, and I know it has to look cool, like when you're actually there, because it's like in the center. It's like right off Lakeshore Drive, so you're in the middle of all this commotion. What else? Was that 4 or 5?
That was 4. Number 5 is going to Chicago Fire game. You could sub this in with going to a White Sox game or a Cubs game or any sort of like outdoor sporting event. Chicago is an incredible sports town. For people who are not soccer people, Chicago Fire is the MLS team in Chicago. I think they started playing, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. The opener was a few weeks ago. The opener was in February. And my son went, and it was, 30 degrees outside. So again, touch and go for what the weather's going to be like, but really close to the museum campus. They play in Soldier Field right now. The fire games are always fun. The fans are super passionate, and it's a fun thing to go do. We're a soccer family, love soccer, so it's great.
Everyone, hopefully you found something within our suggestions of things to do when the weather looks like it's appearing to be warm.
I think my list of sort of reflects optimism. I think Tanisha's list reflects practicality.
Hesitation,
Tanisha, your list.
suspicion.
Suspicion. Well, I do always have a place to run inside. Maybe that's like a spring mantra. Always have a place where you can run inside if the weather turns.
My advice is in the wintertime, just when you get little pockets of warmth, go outside.
My advice is to escape if you can. I think that, after a long winter, February, if you can get away, is a good time. Is a nice time.
Summertime's coming up. Let's forget the winter. But like this year, what are you looking forward to doing in Chicago?
I mean, I think for me it is, nothing exotic. Running on the lake, running on the 606 in the neighborhood, going to street festivals, being outside as much as possible. Um, That's it. I mean, like it's very simple pleasures, but I love it so much. Like it's so lovely. The summers here are the best. Listening to live music in Millennium Park, going to shows. So in the winter, the Salt Shed has shows indoors. In the winter, they will transition to outdoors. And they have this huge like outdoor space, which is really fun. So being able to go and like hang out in that outdoor space and listen to live music, that's it. Like, I think those really simple pleasures are just amazing and memorable and are part of what I love about the city.
I like to walk around a lot. So if I'm not at the beach, I just walk in neighborhoods. So I'm just curious, do you have like a certain neighborhood on your list that you enjoy walking in?
I love walking around this neighborhood, and I'm in Wicker Park, but specifically there is this stretch um, of on Hoyne, and it's south of North. It's called Beer Baron Row, and it's these houses, really like these mansions from like the 1800s. So they definitely stand out. They're not like typically what you would see in the city. So they're huge lots. They're these like I don't know. They're just these insane old houses, and it's really fun to like walk those blocks and just look at them, see what people are doing to them or not doing to them. It's so beautiful and it's so nice, like in the spring, summer, fall, whenever it's not winter, to be out there and look at them. When I was much younger, my husband and I used to walk through and sort of like, oh, what if we lived there? I wonder if what it would be like, blah, blah, blah. Now, as I walk through, I'm like, oh, I bet that's a money pit. I bet that's so hard to take care of. But they're beautiful and it's really cool. It's also really cool that, they were never knocked down and they were preserved. So they're there and you can kind of get a feel because the housing, like the rest of the housing in the neighborhood is very different than that, and so you can kind of get a feel of like, oh, this is what things were like long ago.
That's what I love about Chicago are the like old homes that haven't been torn down. There's a ton of neighborhoods I like to walk in. So Wicker Park is one of them. I wish I'd paid attention to the streets that I like to go down, but Wicker Park, Lincoln Park by over by DePaul. Anytime I'm over there, I like to look at the old homes. Little Italy. So when I'm over at Mario's, we always like kind of walk through the neighborhood. And then in Bronzeville, tons of old homes. There's an area that's a little closer to the lake, Oakland neighbor. I think that's the official neighborhood, Oakland, and even part of Kenwood. There's tons of like old mansions and old homes to see, and then you could just head over to the lake. But beautiful homes. So there's a ton of neighborhoods. Some that I'm probably just not thinking of. Hyde Park, Woodlawn. Yeah. So if you just like looking at old homes.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, and it's also cool when you can kind of find the hidden pockets. Like and again, I don't know what this neighborhood is, but like there are little pockets near the United Center where these historic homes, and you're driving through, it's like, whoa, because so much of like the housing stock near the United Center is all new. Like so it's clear like a lot of stuff was knocked down and like, new buildings, but when you kind of catch that those older homes, there's also a place near I maybe it's near Mario's. Like it's kind of driving from UIC to Wicker Park if you don't take the freeway, if you just take the streets, and you pass like you'll go through like that Taylor Street area, and then you'll pass by what is that high school that's right there? Whitney Young. Whitney Young. That's it. So you drive by Whitney Young.
Yeah.
It is like this amazing block. And I'm like, where
I
am
know
I?
exactly where you're talking about. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Like it is so beautiful. It's like it's from a movie. I mean, it's just really unbelievable. And I love that. I love like kind of stumbling upon that where the neighborhood almost looks untouched by, modern times. And it's so beautiful. Yeah.
Well, yeah, these are all great things. Look at houses.
Dive into the history of the city. Certainly, there's a lot going on. But yeah, well, Tanisha, thanks for coming on the other side of the camera.
Thanks for having me. It's always nice to pop up and then go back to my little cave.
You should come out more. It's so fun. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you this spring. We'll see you this summer. Thank you for listening to Notes from Chicago. This podcast is edited and produced by Tanisha Blakely. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Notes from Chicago on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts.